brass tacks review of the Century Arms C308. You're not here for my life story. Now this particular, the Century Arms C308, Century Arms bought the last bit of the Setme rifles coming in from Spain, or the parts kits. I think the real meat and potatoes, like, the more convoluted stuff to manufacture, more expensive stuff like the bolt head and stuff. So they were able to keep production costs down, that they were just, the expensive stuff was already fabricated. But then they kind of Frankensteined it together with a trigger housing and a barrel and stuff from PTR. But of course, barrels aren't cheap either. And that's the history, or what the little story behind the particular Century Arms C308 is relative to my comprehension. Now, the history of the roller delayed mechanism, I like to go into that a little bit. It can be traced back to Nazi Germany. They had the Sturmgewehr, like a lot of German technology. It was ahead of its time. It was the world's first assault rifle, intermediate caliber with select fire. The only trouble is they weren't getting enough. It was a short stroke gas operation with a tilting bolt, and tilting bolts, from my understanding, require more machining than they like. I think they're actually derived from the Russian, either the Tokarev or Simonov rifles, but that's I digress. So they wanted to switch to a roller, have rollers on the side of the bolt and have a roller locked rifle, but still maintain that gas system. And as they were testing the roller versions, they realized that sometimes the gun, when the bolt would go fully into battery, it would bounce out the trunnion, and the gun would actually, and the rifle would actually fire when it was slightly out of battery, but it did not necessarily fail. It opened at extremely high pressure, but it still operated. So that put the idea in their head that they could use those rollers to apply mechanical disadvantage when the gun fires, and just have that hold the bolt open, or hold the bolt shut until the bullet leaves and after peak pressure, and then have the gun open. So you could use just the rollers and the bolt to have the gun operate safely, and then completely omit the gas system. And that actually reduced production by about 50%. So it was very considerable. At that point, it was worth retooling everything. Now, this is the twilight of World War II. Things ain't looking so good. Mauser plant was in Oberndorf, which is Baden-Württemberg in southwest Germany, and they were trying to sneak them up into the Alps. They found them a month later, the engineers and what have you. Oops. I'm keeping it. I'm on a roll right now. Now, those engineers, they found them. They held them in Holland a little bit, the Netherlands, and they went to France for a little bit, and then they found work in Franco, Spain. Franco really had a thing for, and rightfully so, for German weapons. And they started working for Centro de Estudios Técnicos de Materiales Especiales in about 1953. And I think about 51 or 53 is when the Spanish adopted it. Now, a few years later, Germany wants, West Germany is being allowed to rearm. And they originally, the Bundeswehr, the new German army, wants to adopt the FNFAL as the rifle one. But now, of course, that FNFAL is being made by the Belgians, and the wounds were still very much open for the Belgians again, and their feelings for the Germans in the 1950s, because World War II was just it was very much, and World War I for that matter was still a living memory. So the Belgians would not relinquish unrestricted rights for domestic production of the FNFAL in Germany. Now, and of course, at that point, it was clear that Germany needed her own domestic rifle, and about this time, those Mauser engineers were moving back to Oberndorf, and they established Heckler & Koch, and began making the Gewehr 3, the G3, and the rest is history. And I'm sure I'm missing some things there, but that's the rough history behind this weapon. It was adopted the world over. It's still one of the most prolific rifle mechanisms or families, whatever you want to call it, out there. It's right up there with the FNFAL, the AK, and the AR, probably a little behind those ones. But it was adopted everywhere from places in South America, Africa, and everyone from Iran to Norway, or all three of the Scandinavian countries adopted it. So it's been spitting lead from the tropics to the deserts of Persia to the Arctic Circle, and I've had this thing be very reliable for me. Either a little bit of maintenance. I had failures to extract, change the extractor spring, no problem. Then I had failures to go in battery, new recoil spring, no problem. I switched to a 36-degree locking piece. That was a mistake because especially the steel ammo I shoot, the Wolf ammo is really watered down pussy bullshit. So I'm switching back to a 45-degree locking piece, which I believe opens more easily. You want to use that 36-degree locking piece for suppressors, but I'm going back to 45 because I am having some trouble with it. Because I shoot steel ammo out of this thing because it mutilates the brass. I can't reload it. I know some guys can. It puts a ding in it. Once you got that, it gets stuck in the resizer. Anyway, I can't reload the brass. And now that we've let things get this far with the gun control, they can't take the guns, so they're pricing us out of ammo. They ban the importation of all the steel stuff. So this thing's kind of going by the wayside for me. It's becoming obsolescent because if I can't, I'm really just down to what the steel ammo I have left because I won't mutilate any of my brass because even brass is getting expensive because we're letting it get this far. But that's why I founded the Guns and Dope Party. We're about personal sovereignty and ending all this un-American bullshit, taking our country back. Trump isn't your salvation. You are. You have to get organized at a local level and care. Anyway, so I shoot steel ammo out of this thing, and it shoots about 2 to 4 MOA, depending on how good of a day it is. I don't like to take MOA with. I used to think, the 1.2 or 1.25 MOA. That doesn't really mean shit. It's either an accurate rifle or it isn't. I'm not a 1,200 yard competition shooter yet. So you pick this thing up and you realize, yeah, a big girl. She's a big girl. She ain't afraid of a little snack. It's a full-size 30 caliber battle rifle. Your controls are right here. I've changed a few things on it. I changed the lever, the trigger housing, and the trigger mechanism itself. It's nothing. Nothing's really too crazy on this thing. And then it has this sinfully disappointing button release, which is just I got pretty big mitts and I can just barely reach it. The operation is up here. Obviously, give it that. You want to hit it with the back of your palm and give it that classic HK karate chop. My scope kind of hinders that, but that works just the same. Don't ride it home. Let it go into battery. Don't be dainty with this thing. Now, because of this operation, the way this rifle, on top of the bolt carrier is also made heavier to help also retard that opening. So, but when it does open, it's really pissed off because, with your gas operation, you have just enough gas coming up here to siphon and operate the mechanism. You still have all the pressure from that cartridge in that chamber. So when this bolt comes back, it's heavy and she's pissed off. So you'll never see a last round hold open with these rifles because it wouldn't hold up. That poor little Sierra lever would just, probably not the first round, but she wouldn't last 5,000 rounds. But she shoots all right. Recoil compared to an AR-10 is more substantial because, again, that system is the recoil impulse a lot shorter over a shorter period of time because, again, that bolt's coming back real fast and it's heavier. So recoil impulse is a bit snappier than the AR-10. I'm sure there's some of you special operations typewriter commandos in the comment section telling me about how you like to put a 50 cal right up to your teeth and it makes you laugh. I don't give a fuck. I don't read the comments. If you've got something to say, make a video with your pretty face in it. But it's reliable. It's cool. It's not pragmatic though because you can't reload the brass, and to me that's a deal killer because now 308 ammo, because we've let it get this far, is just absolutely astronomical. We let the EPA shut down the only lead smelter in America. The purpose of the United States government is to protect your freedoms, not the environment. But that's still pretty status of me. Remember, we don't need any government at all. It does nothing but enslave humanity. But there you have it. Now I'm going to break her down and explain the internals as best I can. You won't be impressed. All right, so disassembly. We've got the magazine removed. I'm going to send the bolt home. Okay, now we got to knock out these 2 pins. Very HK, you take off the buttstock and all the guts just come right out the back. So you want to elevate that a little bit. Just like that. There's your buttstock and mainspring with this guide. Your trigger group comes right off, and then that worked out well. And this is your meat and potatoes. This is your brains right here. Okay. Now when it goes into battery, so I don't ride it home because you want this thing to snap back. See them two? There's two rollers right here. When you put that back, those pop out, and those sit inside your trunnion matching recesses and provide your mechanical disadvantage, because when that bolt pushes back, it's also pushing on these two rollers, which are sitting on a wedge piece, the locking piece, and that's what slows or retards the opening till the bullets left the barrel and peak pressure has been reached. Now to take this off, you turn that, and right there, there's your locking piece right there. And now I should probably get a picture of it. You can see this one kind of fatter up front. This is your 36-degree locking piece. This is your 45-degree locking piece. This is the stock one. This one I'm going to pack back in there because that wolf ammo is so pussy. But this is your this is for shooting a suppressor or maybe a different kind of tuned ammo. But you can see that. Hold them still for a second. If you can pause it, you can see the angles are different, and those rollers sit on those angles, and that's what times your opening. So I'll get this one lubricated and put it back in there. Now that we've applied a thin film of Lucas Extreme Duty synthetic gun oil, we're going to put her back in the exact same way we disassembled her, just in reverse. So your firing pin and its tension spring go back in the same spot, obviously. Then you put your locking piece in there, and it's kind of like a little key, put it in there. Then you take your bolt head, and this is the trickiest part. Sometimes you don't like to go, but you just gotta make her work. Oh, fuck you. There she goes. There she goes. So then she's locked back with that anti-bounce spring, and I'm not very dainty, and I just go take this take your channel locks and pop it back. So now that goes back in the gun the same way sometimes she likes to come back a little bit. She's got to be fully forward for those rollers to clear and go back in this receiver. Send her home. Trigger mechanism next. Butt stock and spring. And then put our bolts, put our retention pins back in. Brass ball peen. Take her off safe, and she's ready to rock. Very nice mechanism. So let's try her out with the new 45-degree locking piece.
All of your roller rifles are going to function pretty well the same. You rock that mag in there, release that bolt. 2-position safety lever, just like an AR. It'd be 3-position if the troops were actually fighting for freedom. Truth hurts, you oil company bitch dog. Let's see how she shoots. Recoil is quite a bit snappier than the AR-10, just because of the operating system, as I explained. But it's not unpleasant. It's pretty accurate. But she shoots.